Welcome everyone to the RTG Baseball Podcast, where we travel down the road to glory 1 week at a time. We're going to break down the week that was in fantasy, check out the leaders in the league, and then pivot to this week's IRL baseball topic, Stats to Live By. I'm your host and commissioner, Coach Will. And I'm joined tonight not by your resident Red Sox fan who's taking another week off. Oh no, instead I bring you another Mets fan. Welcome to the show, Coach Eric.
Oh, good to be here. Glad to be here.
Thanks for joining. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How are you?
Oh, well, yeah, just like last week, Yankees are on a winning ways at the moment. Much better than the first 6 weeks of the season, which had like a Devin Williams blown save weekly. But now life is good. Although we did drop a game to the Rockies, which terrible.
Same here in Mets world. Now Diaz is looking a lot better than the start of the season. The bats have cooled down, but pitching is still doing great.
Yeah, how you feeling about the Mets? I know we usually go straight into the fantasy, but your team crushed my hopes and dreams by taking Juan Soto. So how's it been?
Honestly, I didn't really care about the Soto signing.
Really?
I rather distribute the salary across multiple players instead of having one place of failure. If he gets injured, then we're out basically like three-peat players. But
That's
other than
reasonable.
that,
But you gotta be in the vast minority of Mets fans then that feel that way. But maybe not. I mean, you're around them probably more than me.
he's doing okay. There's been chatter of him, uh, you know, taking a little bit too much time to adjust to the new uniform. But I don't know, the Mets are doing quite well this season, getting my hopes up.
Oh yeah, because sometimes the way this goes is you have a surprise run in the playoffs, everyone's excited, and then the next year it just fizzles out. But bringing in Juan Soto obviously helps with that, and not to mention, like you were concerned about, like not spreading it out. You did also bring back Pete Alonso because for a while there it looked like it was going to be Soto, but not Alonso.
Right. Except, Alonso had an awful year last year, but he's been on a blazing hot start to this year, except for last week. Last week, he only scored 20 fantasy points on my team, which is probably his lowest.
Yeah, you got ahead of me with that. I was about to be like, let's see who has Mr. Alonso on their squad.
If we're going to fantasy, half of my team is Mets players, basically.
Okay, well, so was that intentional, or it just
Of
happened
course,
to be?
some hopium. If they're doing well in real life, then my fantasy team's going to do well.
See, that's called going all in. You're right. If it all works out, you're gonna be super excited for having a fantasy win, a fantasy championship. You're gonna be a lot richer by winning this league, and the Mets will be winning. So, hey, that's power to you.
Who? But someone else was fighting me for all the Mets players during the draft.
Oh, really? I mean, we got about we've already had Coach Show on this podcast's Mets fan. Phil, uh, Coach Phil is as well a Mets fan. And I think, are those our Mets fans here? I believe that. Oh no, and I coach Brian. Yes, so four Mets fans. I mean, who do you actually? This is a funny question. Who do you think has been your best player so far? Bet you
Must
on
be
Team Islanders.
must be Pete Crow Armstrong, former minor leaguer Met, or Alonzo
That's what it looks
out of the
like.
batters.
It's close.
But
It's real
it
close.
could be Hunter Brown, but he had a dreadful start last week as well.
So on offense, very astute for you to notice PCA being great because for people who don't know, maybe they don't pay attention to former top prospects. Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs, also known as PCA, kind of discarded last year. People were bummed he didn't instantly become a star. He has been awesome, and he is your second best hitter right now, narrowly behind, as you suspected, Pete Alonso himself.
Yeah,
And if you're curious about
to
Hunter Brown, Hunter Brown is your number one pitcher, and he is your number one overall player, period. Even with his oh wait, oh actually it's like 2 points of separation for Pete Alonso. But they're both 1 and 2 right there. Are you feeling the vibes,
I
the good vibes? What are we? We're in 9 games in, so we're almost halfway through the season. There's 20 matchups and 22 decisions because there's 2 double matchups. Uh, is this a season for the ages for the Islanders?
I had a pretty dreadful start to the season. I think I lost 2 straight, and then I went on a 5-game winning streak until last week when I lost again.
Yes, yes. So you were in a slugfest with Coach Andrew, and you were actually basically in the lead from what I could tell 6 of the 7 days. And then uh he- Andrew just had a night for the ages, or I guess day, because mostly day games on Sunday. Even his relievers randomly, Boston reliever Justin Slayton even pitched at the end. Uh how's it feel like you had a great week, but it didn't get you the win?
Awful. That's absolutely awful. I think I would have beaten half of the league probably, and it's just the one matchup. Everyone else is
Yeah, you're pretty
only
much you. I think you were like the 4th highest. So Brian had had a great week, 660 points, and Nate had 658. So, and then Nick, we'll get to Nick in a bit, but Nick also he's our resident Royals fan. Uh, had an unbelievable week. But oh yeah, you would have. I mean, you would have dominated. I mean, you're still 6-3. Let's take a look at the standings right now. So I'm betting there's a bunch of people all jumbled up. And yes, so you are in a tie with Coach Show and me, all at 6-3. In fact, you are a point and a half ahead of me, which is why you're in 4th and I'm in 5th. So grumble. Uh, but it's been very interesting this year. I understand we're not even at the halfway point, but just looking at the top 7, we already have 4 people that were not in the playoffs last year that are currently in a playoff position, and therefore 3 people who are not. Right now, coaches Brian, Vitav, and Andrew all sit at 3-6 and not in the playoffs.
yeah, this year has been quite competitive, except for Rachel's team, which unfortunately I believe you lost last week. The
Yeah,
only
that's
win
as good
for her team.
as good a time as any. So now it's not no longer speaking as your commissioner, but speaking as Coach Will, the manager of the popping soda cans. We would like to make an official statement to all soda can fans everywhere. What we witnessed last week was an abomination. Fans should never have to go through this type of thing, this type of embarrassment. We're all ashamed up here in the front office. We could make excuses like suddenly on Monday, all our players getting injured and not having another reliever to sub in, or suddenly all our players just deciding to score less than 20 points. But we're not going to make excuses. We're going to own it. We failed. We failed you. And we pledge to our fans to never let this happen again. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, actions have consequences. So we had to face the music. Now, granted, a coach Rachel's, to her credit, she actually had a normal performance. It's not like she scored 300 points and won anyway. As an objective bystander, I am pleased for her to get on the board, but as the manager of the soda cans, that's not what you want to see. Now, you did mention, more we mentioned the different people in the playoff position now, and some people who are not. One cool thing I discovered is if you go on the website version of CBS and hover over league and then draft results, it's going to show you the draft that we just had, but it's also going to show you the points that those players have gotten and where they rank at their position. It's kind of cool to look at. So, for example, the number one overall draft pick in this league, out of the people available, because remember, there are keepers at play here, was Show picking Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge is the number one overall player in everywhere. Excellent pick for Mr. Show. You, Coach Eric, you may remember we were drafting, we ran into a little bit of a glitch where you were unable to draft Mookie Betts, and we were able to fix it, and you got your guy. But when I look at this, he is the number 10 shortstop right now. Probably lower than that for outfielders. What's going on here?
I don't know how accurate that is. Be and he can also slot into second baseman as a second baseman. So we'll have to double check those
Well,
stats.
it
See
does
where it's
it
ranked.
what CBS does is they don't give you second position. They're gonna pick one, and that's gonna be your position. So you're not gonna be counted in the list. So let's see. If I go shortstops,
So,
all
so I
players.
still stand by my choice. He's ranked. He's out of the points wise. He's ranked the third best second baseman so far.
Well,
You're right.
be
He's
careful.
the
Yeah,
10th
you're right. You're right.
short
And also, tell me
shortstop.
this: is he playing second base for you,
Is he?
or is he
Yes,
playing
he is.
shortstop or outfield? Okay,
Well, I
so
have
that
Trey
that does
Turner
that does
as
make it clear.
shortstop.
Another good pick. Another good pick. Where did you get Trey Turner? Let's see. Do a little
Second, right?
control F action here.
Yeah, second round.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Round two. I mean, but this is a good way to kind of see where things went wrong. Like for Coach Rachel, her round two pick was reliever Edwin Uceta. That clearly has not worked out. Disastrous pick. But there's some others too. Like obviously if someone's injured, it's gonna hurt. So Andrew, he's not here to defend himself, but he picked Yordan Alvarez in the first round, but he had a slow start and then got injured and has been injured. And obviously that's your round one pick just gone.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Mookie Betts was also injured for quite a while. So he's actually performing quite well, even with the time off.
Do you have any that we're gonna sprinkle in a little bit of the future of the episode here? Are there any rate stats that you try to go by for? Because obviously, so when someone's injured, you can't go completely by the counting stats, which is what total points are. Is a counting stat. So do you pick batting average, slugging percentage, another
Oh,
percentage?
well, an easy way to do it is just to look at the last 7, 14, 21 days and then just go by fantasy points. Since the league is a little different, a hit might be the same as a home run or a walk. So you kind of have to look at the whole picture. But if you need to just look at one thing, OPS is good, but I don't even think it's on CBS. So you just
If
have
you
to
want
add
to, if you
the
want to
on
find,
base.
if you want to find OPS, you have to switch the categories from standard to so nope, not scoring, advanced. So switch that drop down to advanced, and they, for some reason, call it production points, PP, and that's your OPS.
But you can't do that on your team view. Can
Well, you could switch if you're on just like players, so player stats, you could switch the drop down to only show your team. So there's like the box that says all players. Underneath that box is fantasy team, and you could switch it to the team you want.
yeah,
So if you're
that's a little
curious,
bit too much a hassle. I would just add the on base percentage and slugging, which is already on your team view.
yeah, if you are good at addition, you can just do that. If you're curious, that's Trey Turner with the highest OPS on your team. Um, Funny enough, oh, I'm sorry, I'm filtered by the last 21 days because that's what you recommended. Because I was like, "Where's Pete Alonso?" But like you said, Pete Alonso has struggled lately. Does that feel like
Yeah,
a good? Is like 21 days is your go to? Because some people will just go
yeah,
like
21
a month,
days.
pick a month.
I like 21 days. Gives it includes some streaks and also some recent stats.
Of course. And there's also the like obviously if you click somebody, whether on your phone or on the uh computer, you can just see their points per week in the form of a bar graph. So like if I click on Trey Turner, I can see that he had an absolutely monster, unbelievable week last week. 96.5 points. Amazing. And his other weeks are great too. It's funny that now on this graph, the or on the chart, the other weeks look bad, but it's only because they're dwarfed by his week this week.
Oh, it messed up the scale.
Yep. Yep. See, yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you're too good. Uh but yeah,
You go
despite
to
the
Alonso.
oh, for you're looking at Alonso.
Take a look at Alonso's graph.
All right, let's take a peek. So,
Looking good.
ooh, yeah, that's well, I got fooled a little bit by the thing, but yeah, that is a super duper start to the season. But then essentially the last 3 weeks, so like your 21 days is really underperforming. Is this enough to tempt you? Like, would you see this? You're looking at it now. Are you now tempted to like sit him for a week and like wait for him to have like a good week and then put him back in?
Um, Normally I do if it's a fringe player, but someone like Alonso, know, first 5 rounds, you can't really bench those guys. And they're also facing the White Sox in Colorado this week, which the
Okay,
worst two
fair enough.
teams.
Say no more. That's the wow. That's pretty crazy to face them both in the same week. Hopefully, people
And if he
added
doesn't perform
Mets
this week,
pitchers this week. Although all the Mets pitchers might be owned, there might not be a Mets starting pitchers on free agency.
No, most people
Uh,
scoop them up by now.
yeah,
The Mets
yeah.
are have the best ERA in the entire league, I believe.
I saw that during the Subway Series when they're showing all the because that was a national one of the games was national broadcast, so they're showing all the stats of both teams, and yeah, they somehow I can't tell you I understand it, but somehow your starters are awesome.
Hefner, the pitching lab is doing work.
The pitching lab. I mean, if it's it 1 year is like, "Oh, okay, that could have been a fluke." 2 years, though, 2 years would be intriguing, and then if he does it again, the 3rd year is a pattern, and then you're rolling.
Even going back to like 2016,
This is after well, are you
Wheeler,
saying he's
Grom,
the Mets have
Mets
also
have been,
been a pitching team, that's true.
yeah,
Do you find yourself investing more in pitching here in fantasy or searching for those, like, big hitters or trading for them, whatever? Even in the draft, are you, like, building a rotation first and then moving on, or how do you approach it?
yeah. So if you look at my draft results, I went heavy on hitters first, and then I panicked and tried to get some dark horses in pitching. Um, and going back to Degrom, he turned out to be a star this year.
Oh, yeah, so far he's been awesome. I mean, everyone was scared of him, of course, because 'cause he's been injured every year for who knows how long.
When he's no not injured, he does quite well. Let's see what round I got him in.
I look at it right now, that's round 10. Round 10, Jacob DeGrom.
A pretty good pick for round 10. Although I wanted to get Cal Riley, the catcher for Seattle, but then he was taken
Yeah,
right
so
after I took DeGrom. Unfortunate.
the person that I thought
I
I
think
was gonna be sneaky about getting was a couple rounds earlier in round 8 when I picked Roki Sasaki. Unlike Jacob DeGrom, that has not worked out. He's given me no value. In fact, he's like been a net negative and now is injured and he's a net zero. Disaster.
yeah, I had a chance to pick him as well, but I saw him pitch and he did not look that good. Yamamoto, I wanted to pick him too, but he also got lit up in the postseason. That was a
Yeah,
bad
although
round
I
for
think
a lot of people.
he squashed us though. But uh yeah, looking at that, I'm telling you, if you're listening here, take a look. League and then draft results, and you could just scroll and look at all of the sad draft picks that happened. So I mean, but there's also some awesome ones. Like for example, in round 7 via your keeper, you kept Mark Vientos, and that has not helped out so far for you.
Yeah, he had a bad start, but he's been picking it up recently. Um, and then he's downtrending again. But, I picked up Brett Beatty, the Mets third baseman, to replace him. So hopefully
You're
he
really going
does trade.
all in on the Mets, aren't you? I mean, it's not a bad idea. You pick I mean, imagine if you had just drafted you just didn't draft any don't even draft Corbin Burns. You just draft the Mets rotation because they would have all gone late probably. I mean, you would have been unstoppable.
Well, that was
Speaking
the
of
plan, but
unstoppable, that was fun, yeah. Um, we gotta look at the power rankings now and talk about the person who is in first place overall and is first in the power rankings overall. That's Coach Nick. Coach Nick, uh, one of the newest, along with Phil, members of the league. Uh, quickly in his first 2 seasons, made the playoffs, but nothing really happened. Quick exits, blah blah blah. This is by far, I guess, this is definitely the most over 500 he's been, I suspect. Uh, and I mean, he's doing it a lot of different ways. It's just a relentless offense. I'm looking at his roster right now. He is the person who actually got Cal Raleigh, like you mentioned, and then at second base, Bryce Terang has been great this year. Manny Machado is on his team. Jackson Merrill was hurt, but he's back now. Kyle Tucker has been great. Unsurprisingly, he has the Royals' top prospect in his minor leagues ready to come up too. He's got
I
Garrett
was in
Crochet.
San Diego when Jackson Merrill signs its contract this year. The stadium
Really?
was, yeah, the stadium was ecstatic. San
Was
Diego,
it
the
like
Padres were going on
announced mid game?
it was announced the morning of the game, but the stadium was packed. It was also Dog's Day. Bring your dog to the stadium day.
Oh, wow. What was that like?
Great. A bunch of
Were they just
dogs
like
running
running
around.
around? Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, in the outfield.
Yeah,
They
that
were,
must have been.
I think they were on a 7-game win streak to start the season.
Yeah, in real life, Padres were just on
Yeah.
like a 6-game losing streak. But
We-
I'm not worried about the Padres. But I would be worried about Nick. Like I said, I mean, he's the question is just, can he keep it up? That's probably the only thing. Like if you look at his squad, he has chosen to go full depth hitters. So he has a full 5 hitter bench and no starting pitchers on the bench. Very uncommon. But
His
you know what?
pitching
I mean,
lineup is amazing. And he has Snell on the injured list.
yeah, he had Snell, he had Reagans. So what you see right now is without those guys.
And then second half, Snell's got to come back and blow
Second
the
half
league
Snell.
open.
Yeah, he's kind of taking. I don't know if it's intentional. Maybe he'll hop on the podcast at one point. He has basically the opposite strategy as you. Like he has loaded up on pitching here, and I would say like, well, the risk is if one of them goes down, then you're in trouble. But honestly, 2 of them have gone down, and he's not in trouble. He could probably even upgrade his relievers if he really wanted to. Although if
Yeah.
Romano like hold down the closure job with Philly, he'll be fine.
I mean, saves is not, doesn't give that many points in the league. And whip is quite bad. His relievers. It's killing
Yeah,
his points.
yeah. Relievers is tough. It's come up a couple of these episodes because, like, for example, he not necessarily give out free advice, but he has a spark on his team starting right now. Hypothetically, he could start that player in the relief slot. But to do that, he would need to actually have another starter then on the team, and that would be someone from free agency. But this team is so good in pitching that probably could just work out. The people like relievers because you you're probably not going to get a blow up performance from them. Like you're not just going to suddenly get -40 out of nowhere, and you're hoping that your
No.
closer pitches like well, if they pitch twice a week and get 20 points each time, then that's 40 points. That's good. That's a more than average. But the problem is if they pitch 3 times and like that 3rd time they don't get a save or they blow the save, then your 40 will go down to like 25 and now that's below average.
Getting a average starting pitcher is also quite risky or hard, difficult.
Yeah, we
They
were
only have
talking to
one
coach
shot too.
exactly. We were talking to Coach Nate in one of the previous episodes and he brought up an interesting idea of uh like almost keeping a a spot open on your roster just to filter in a new pitcher each week who's facing the White Sox, the Rockies. So it's kind of like it wouldn't work here because to do that he had to bench one of these very good pitchers. So it's like you make your team worse so that you have one of those spots on your roster you can keep on dropping, adding, dropping, adding, dropping.
Streaming pictures.
Yep, exactly. That's why I said you mentioned the Mets facing the White Sox and Rockies. This would be a great time to have a Mets starting pitcher right now. Great week for that, especially someone who is two
Starting
starts.
starting in Colorado is also a bit risky just because of the stadium.
It's true. It does give you pause. So I guess like ideally it's Whites. It's not White Sox. It's Rockies on the road, as in like they're not in Colorado. That's probably the best matchup right now. White Sox is a great matchup for pitchers. Texas Rangers, at least the last 2 weeks, I know because we faced them. Also awful hitting. But it's just but it is stressful. Like if you're the manager, I'm sure you've done it before. You've been streaming starters. Like you have to if that is your primary strategy and not just like a bonus, then you got to hit every week then on whatever. And you actually have to get them too. Like you can get outbid for the person you wanted.
That's true, but I don't stream pictures. I have a fiction through depending on the schedule. Plus, I got a bunch of relievers slash starting pitchers like Clay Holmes that I could just cycle into different slots if needed.
Have you ever done the rare uh starting pitcher eligible at relief pitcher as in or sorry, the opposite, relief pitcher elbow starting pitcher. So that would be like if Clay Holmes gets bumped back to the bullpen, he would still be SP eligible. So you could put him in your starting pitcher slot as a reliever.
I don't think that's ever happened because if they get bumped from the starting rotation to a reliever, that means they're not doing that well
Isn't that what he's saying?
and they're not
Yeah, I
worth a
did this.
spot.
I mean, fair. Usually, I guess usually it would only come up if like it happened in the off season. Like I think I had him on another team, Jordan Hicks. Uh, he had been starting for the Giants, I believe, and he got bumped to the bullpen. And you're right, he got bumped because he was horrible. So I'm probably not gonna now go add him to be my closer. I did it 1 year. I think it was a Yankees pitcher. It might have been Michael King a number of years ago, who the previous season was a starter. And it was bad. But then in that current season, he had been moved to like a 2 inning bullpen specialist and had been good and getting holds. And my pitching was weak that year. Like, this might be good. Like, just count 40 points every week. But yeah, no, it is rare for sure.
At least he's doing well now. I think I might have done it with Seth Lugo. He was on the Mets.
That
They was going in and out of the starting rotation.
I mean, that would check out. He's a weird one. He is like he's the opposite, right? Like, did he ever start for the Mets, or is he just always a reliever?
He has. I think he might have had 1 or 2 starts.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that usually doesn't work out. Usually it's not like I think a job with Chamberlain, the Yankees, where we moved him back and forth, and I just never we just he just we should have left him a relief pitcher forever. Is what we should have done. But oh well. Um, and I think the
He
other
actually
team we should talk about is uh let's talk about near the bottom of the league right now, Coach Raj, who is like Coach Andrew, no longer here to defend himself. He finds himself at 3-6, and he's an apt person to bring up because he is the owner of Juan Soto. So he is stuck in a tricky position where he invested heavily in Juan Soto, of course, but has not gotten top round value for him yet. Like he has gotten a great player, but he has not gotten an elite player yet.
I mean, he's the third ranked outfielder. I wouldn't say that's a bust.
Not a bust, not a bust. But people you pick in round 1, sometimes even round 2, like you are expecting them to carry the squad. Like it really hurts when you don't get an elite player in performance. And everyone expects Juan Soto to get back up to elite. It's just that the damage has been done. He finds himself 3 games below 500 now, nearing halfway, which means he's gonna have to put in the work to turn it around. And it looks like he's another team that very recently got hit with injuries, so now he's gonna have to put in work to go correct those injuries. Uh, but yeah, I wonder who's probably the next most prominent underperformer. Uh, do, 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 do. Technically Mookie Betts,
I
but
guess
he
it's
missed
Mookie
time.
Betts.
So yeah, but he missed time. We could put an asterisk. I'm okay bringing an asterisk. It's fine. Uh, Jordan Alvarez has been
Vladdy,
hurt.
probably.
Corey's. Who was that?
Vladdy. Guerrero.
Oh, Vlad. Yeah, I mean Vlad, especially. See, now this hurts even more. So this is the defending champion. He kept Vlad, so he didn't even draft in the first round. And Vlad, another one, he's been good, but not up to round 1 value, and especially not with so many first basemen being great this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a questionable keeper. I mean, I had him, I think 2 or 3 years ago when he had his breakout year, and, uh, ever since then, I kept him, but he just hasn't been performing, which is why I let him walk, last year. And you're right, there's a bunch of first basemen, which is kinda questionable why I took Alonso so early, but I guess it worked out.
I mean, you and I are the 2 people doing that because, like, I have Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman. We'll see if our choices come back to bite us. Because that we actually talked about you on, like, our first or second episode on this podcast because when you have 2 amazing players at the same position, it means you're locking up your utility spot, which at first, like, no big deal. Like, you'd everyone would love to have Otani, for example, but it means, like, when exciting first basemen pop up on free agency, like, it's almost useless for me to try to get them because I can't play them unless I bench one of the other 2 guys.
Right. I got it. I also didn't realize that when I was drafting. I forgot I had Bryce Harper. I thought he was in outfield still for some reason.
Well, it's not impossible. Maybe the Phillies will choose to put him. I think you need 9 starts to get another position. So, you never know.
Correct.
It's probably not likely, but, uh, I'm glad you were brave enough to admit that because I will also admit that, uh, I remembered too late. Like, the clock got low, although you can see what round is this? 1. It was the first round, and people were gone already, and Olsen's my keeper, so I wasn't even thinking about that. Um, but you know what? For both of us, it's working out. We're top of the league. Uh, let's hope it does not come back to cause us pain in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably not many other choices that would have been better than Freddie Freeman in the first round. Maybe Zach Wheeler would have been acceptable, but I don't think there was
Yeah,
anyone else
maybe.
available.
Uh, but now to transition into our IRL baseball topic of the week. I'm curious to know. We dipped our toes into it a little bit earlier on the show, but what are your stats that you live by? We can start with offense. So I know we talked about OPS already. If you were at the baseball stadium looking up at the scoreboard, is that the number one thing you're hoping is shown there? OPS?
Yes. OPS, which they actually do show nowadays, which is nice. And also WAR. There it's the
WAR. Okay, I
offensive
haven't
one
seen
or
I've seen
defensive.
OPS a lot. I haven't seen WAR a lot on the scoreboard.
Seen it occasionally. Not often though.
Yeah, OPS, it's just simple. It's simple to think about in your head, and it's also simple to just see. So that's on base percentage plus slugging percentage. You end up being told like 700 is like average, like the lowest you would want to see. 800 you're feeling good, 900 you're feeling great, and if you got a 1000 or better OPS, then you're awesome. And that's
A
probably
little
mostly true.
it's a little hard. I think if someone had 900, I think they're MVP level.
Yeah. Well, maybe my calibration's ruined because Aaron Judge is a 1.2 OPS right now. So it's hard to remember uh where the regular players are. But I also love OPS, and it helps also because everyone learns batting average first, right? Like you want your hitters to hit 300. That's what you're growing up. You learn that, and then at some point you learn like, well, you don't. You could also have a good on base percentage. That would be nice. And I feel like a lot of people stop there. Like it's very simple, just batting average and on base percentage, and they don't even care about that last number to the triple slash line. They never even talk about slugging. But slugging is useful as it tells me if you're a power hitter or not. Because otherwise, you're just going to look at home runs and you're leaving out doubles and triples and just
For me,
frequency of hits.
but for me, I think it's a little bit different. I think I grew up thinking, learning about batting average and slugging, but not on base percentage. That was not
Really?
valued back then. Walks were not valued. But, growing up with Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, they were just talking about slugging at steroid era. So I don't know if
I
on
guess
base
that's
percentage.
fair. I just was thinking like literally in the triple slash line, like it's average and then on base and then slugging. So like you would just see average and on base first. Because slugging it's like I want it above 400, and I feel like you're a power hitter if you're above 500. That's like a narrow. I guess I don't know. Like I just don't hear. I don't hear like he's batting third, so he's the one who has a 500 slugging. Whereas like for a leadoff hitter, like oh okay, like I want the. I guess I never got a number for that either. It would just be like you want high on base, even though like the Yankees teams I watched growing up, it's not like they follow that. Like Derek Jeter's on base was never amazing, unless it was also the year where his batting average was amazing, or Johnny David even.
I get where you're coming from. I think it might, if you look at the Triple Crown, no, when Miguel Cabrera went for it, it's batting average, home runs, and then RBIs, right? So I
True,
guess
true.
that's why on base percentage and slugging are kind of outcasted as a stat.
Yeah. So are you? Do you have room in your heart for RBI, or have you cast them off now?
I do. It still shows something, but um, I think in the league, when it still scores 8 points, so it's still pretty good.
Well, so in this league, we actually if we follow weighted runs created is the actual stat it's modeled after, and that stat comes from WOBA. Uh, so if you really would never have to do this, but technically you could sort by WRC like on Fangraphs, and you would get the points leaders. Like it would be close, but at that point, just sort by points. So there's no need for that. But if anyone's ever curious, uh, I'll be happy to go the into WOBA. But let's build ourselves there. So we got batting average. You may know slugging, or you may know on base percentage. You probably know RBI, and if you like RBI, you probably like runs, but runs aren't as cool as RBI. Really. RBI is like you're the person doing it. And then trying to think what would be the next thing. To be honest, the next thing people probably cared about was like batting average with runners in scoring position. Like I don't know if there's any more stats after average and slugging and on base with slugging. Like you're probably not going to the quote unquote advanced stats. You're just going into some of the more niche ones. And like what matters, what makes an impact with you.
You could also look at splits.
Yeah, you eventually get taught like, this is my lefty killer, right? Or this is why we're platooning this guy or that guy. I actually love platooning, but it hurts when we're like what happens with the Yankees is they platoon, but what they should be doing is just benching a guy because he's bad. Like the person they're platooning will be like DJ LeMahieu, who's bad against everybody, when they should just give his job completely to somebody else. But ideally, if you have two good people, then yes, you should platoon them.
Mets are also they really like enjoy platooning, um, especially at DH for the past few years. They Who did they trade for last year or the year before?
Oh, the guy who got in a fight in the playoffs. Shoot. Uh, it'll come to me eventually.
Marte
He
and
just got in a
Winker.
fight with Jesse Winker. There you go. Yep. Yep.
Like even the years before, they would trade for DHs and platoon them, and I don't know. It sometimes works.
Yeah, you need the right play. Like
There's
like you just
also
randomly pick somebody. Like that's not great. It should be established track record against righties plus another established track record against lefties. Put them together, and you have an awesome combined player. Now, after you get comfortable with OPS, which my complaint about OPS though is I can't explain to you on the field what it means. So think about it this way. Batting average is hits divided by at bats. So how often do you get hits? And I can see that with my eyes. Even slugging is total bases per at bat. So that would be on average, how many bases do you advance per at bat? But on base percentage plus slugging percentage, that's the rate of getting on base plus how many bases you get per at bat. It's a little clunky of like what that would look like, which is why I said like I'm just told like a 900 OPS is amazing, but like I don't know if you have a .9, I don't know what that means on the field.
I would think OPS is total bases and slugging is extra base hits.
Well, slugging is singles plus 2 times doubles plus 3 times triples plus 4 times home runs divided
Right.
by
So it's weighted
at
to extra
bats.
base hits.
Yeah, so that's why I said total bases, because total
It's
bases
not total bases because you're not including
is
walks.
okay. You're right. You're right. The stat total bases is hits, but the if you want to consider a walk getting a base, you wouldn't do just on base plus slugging. It would be you would modify slugging to include walks and hit by pitches and probably errors. I don't know if anyone would care about that. Um, so it's a little like it clearly work. I like it. I think it has demonstrated it works better than almost everything. Just sorting by OPS, and then what you could even do. What I want is the little graphic. It'd be great if it showed. So like, let's say you have an 800 OPS, and if it's colored red, you could say most of this OPS is in his slugging. And if it's colored green, it'd be like most of this OPS is in their on base percentage. And that would tell me like he's a great hitter overall, but he's more of a power hitter than an on base guy, and vice versa. I think that'd be cool.
Usually it's in a graph or I mean in a table, so you could just see the slugging percentage or on base percentage.
Yeah, yeah. If it's there, you could do it. But we hope it's
But
limited real estate, on the graphic.
moving on to the next stat would be weighted OPS, OPS plus. I quite
OPS plus.
enjoy weighted
Yep.
stats since
As
it
do I. The
includes other
plus
factors.
stats. Yeah, the plus stats, first of all, is giving you a comparison to your league mates. So you can say, if I am a 110 OPS plus, I am 10% better than my peers. If I'm a 90 OPS plus, I'm 10% worse than my peers. So already, that's amazing. That's just easy to consume once you're told it. But it also, as you mentioned, it brings in park effects. I I believe I'm sure if there's something else on top. I think there's something else on top of the park effects, but that's one of the big ones. That way, like the Rockies players don't dominate these rankings when the Rockies are good, of course.
I think it is park effects and then compares to the it's weighted um compared to the rest of the league.
Yeah, that helps. I know there's some subsets of OPS plus and the other ones where you could do like here's your player compared to their league, and then you could also do compared to their team, like compared to their own team. Like you can pick a smaller subset as well, and sometimes people care about that. Like when you say Aaron
Really.
Judge carried the team, you could quantify that by saying like, oh, he was like 20 times better than everyone else on the team potentially. It's like it's either OPS T or OPS S. Let's see. Uh, but no, I love OPS and OPS plus that extend. No one really uses it, but like there's batting average plus and stolen base plus. So like technically there's a plus stat for everything, but the one that comes up is OPS plus. Like Luis Ariz, his batting average plus must have been like dominant, like 200 or more every single year, as he is that much better than the average.
Right, but his OPS plus is kind of average since he has no
Yep, and
power.
that's how. Yep, you're absolutely right, and that's kind of the moral. Like whatever stat you use, you're probably gonna want to use multiple at the same time. Fill in that picture for you. If I could sell you on WOBA though, so WOBA weighted on base average, it's it's assigning every outcome a an amount of runs. So it's saying it's trying to fix the problem with slugging, where it is not it is not guaranteed that a double is worth twice as much as a single, whereas in slugging it is because doubles count as 2 and singles count as 1. So all the modifiers for the points for WOBA are like these like fractions, like let's say like 1.6, whatever it's going to be. Uh, and then it'll give you something for walks. It'll give you something for stolen bases and caught stealings. Those are factored in. Uh, and then divides by all your at bats. And they add a modifier to make it look like on base percentage at the like when it's all said and done. So this is like a rate stat of just how helpful are you to drive in runs or produce runs, I should say.
So is it like a clutch factor,
Uh,
rally factor,
it
maybe?
it doesn't give you bonus for coming through in the clutch, although there are stats. Um, RE24 is run expectancy, and that one is like what you just did. You just hit a single run on second. How many runs is that usually worth when you hit a single with a runner on second? And so that is more valuable than hitting a single with the bases empty. So if you keep on hitting singles with a runner on second, then your RE24 is going to go up and up and up and up. And you lose points if you're getting into double plays too. So you could argue that that one's a kind of a clutch type stat.
I think I would still prefer WRC plus since it's very easy to read. 100 is average, and anything above is above average. Anything below is below average. Very easy to know how a player is compared to other people. With while with WOBA, it's still basically like an average or on base percentage. You would have to
Yeah, it
know what
requires you
an
to know.
average, right?
So funny enough, because I haven't done it this year yet, but last year I had these big tables with a bunch of stats for the fantasy league, and I learned how to calculate WRC, so without the plus. And it turns out it comes like you use WOBA, so like you start there, and like the same thing you do to get WOBA, like you do to get the counting stat version of WOBA, which is weighted runs created. And then you put the plus at the end to do the accounting for the compared to the league and the park factors. So that's why that and because WRC does the same thing that WOBA does, which it assigns this is how many runs this outcome is worth relative to all the other outcomes. Um, so weighted runs created, I love it so much I based the whole league off of it. So that's why our scoring it looks weird as the way it is, but it matches this awesome stat that I love it, but like it never shows up on TV. I hope one day it shows up on TV. Like it's very rare for WRC plus to pop up. And it suffers from an even worse problem than OPS because WRC and WOBA, both of them, uh, like I can't with my words tell you what that looks like on the field. So that's the problem. Like I understand the number, but it's not so intuitive as like, this is how often. Like it's not just how often you score runs. Like it's not going to be like every time he comes to the plate, 1 run scores is a 1,000 WOBA. Like that's not the case. Oh, but it's still great. I hope just like it took all these years for OPS to get adopted. I hope like 5 years from now, WRC and WRC plus could get adopted.
I think it's already happening. No,
But I want it. Like I said, I want it on TV. I want it like in the mainstream on ESPN, Sunday Night Baseball, whatever. That will be great. Real quick though, let's wrap up this talking. That was all hitters. But what about the pitchers? Uh, Andrew and I talked about this once, and it is interesting that ERA really has persisted for like batting average it gets a lot of flack. People have kind of tossed it aside, but ERA has survived a long time.
Me? It's an easy stat to understand if you've been around baseball for quite a while. But ERA plus, gotta get the weighted stats to and include ballpark factors. That's the best thing. Um,
I'll do you one better.
yeah,
Go ERA minus,
ERA
where the lower
minus.
number's better. Yep. If you're a 90 ERA minus, then you are 10%. Your ERA is 10% lower than the ERA that you want, which is good.
No, I don't even
Like,
see ERA minus most of the time.
I know it doesn't because I understand. Like, if all the other stuff is plus, you want to be consistent, but you just like flip the numbers to get it to to what you want. Because like
So
it would be nice.
do you want ERA to go away? Just like wins?
Well, my idea we talked about before was to not divide by 9 anymore, or sorry, multiply by 9, because earned run average is earned runs per 9 innings, but my pitchers don't pitch 9 innings. So just pick another number. Like pick 5. If pitchers are only gonna go 5, then just make it ERA 5. But as for the other
Can't
stats,
say
there's
I
FIP.
can't say I agree with that.
Oh no, okay. So fine. Let me sell it to you some more then. So with an ERA 5, if you allow 5 innings, 3 runs, that would be a 3 ERA. And since that's all that's being asked of pitchers nowadays, I want to go back to a time when a 3 ERA was good. But now, if you pitch 6 innings, 3 runs, that's a 4.50 ERA, which doesn't feel good. And no one's even pitching 6 innings anyway. Like a 5, if you go 5 innings, 3 runs, that's gonna be over probably a 5 ERA or something. I'll do the math right now. That's
Yeah, but it it averages out by the end of this season. And, some pitchers still do pitch complete games like Tarik Skubal last week.
tire scoop. He threw a Maddox dominant.
He did.
True. Tariq Skubal and a couple others, but the vast majority are not only are not doing it, but like the plan was never for them to even get to the 6th inning. It was just they don't even go 5 innings. It'll be like, oh, 5 and 2/3 and 3 runs, or 5 and a third and 2 runs, and then your good pitchers will go 6 innings.
I mean, if they're not doing well, then you got to take them out. But I
I
don't
don't
think you
necessarily
can.
disagree. Like, I
Yeah, but I don't
understand
think you
we're
can.
pulling pitchers early to save runs, but I'm just saying that now, like that 5 innings, 3 runs is a 5.40 ERA. But there's a lot of fans, they're like, "Oh, thank goodness. My pitcher got through 5 innings and only allowed 3 runs."
Yeah, I mean that's a
So,
quality start if he just did one more inning.
but they don't do another inning, that's what I'm saying. But all right. So you're good with the 9 inning ERA. That's fine. Uh the equivalent of WOBA and WRC plus and RE34 and all these other stuff for pitching is FIP and there's a fancier one, Sierra. Um, Instead of pluses, they get X's, so you can have XFIP and XCRA. Do you like any of those?
I like FIP, but not the XFIP. I don't know. I haven't looked into it that much. Um,
Yeah, so what they did for XFIP is so FIP home runs are a big factor that make your FIP higher, so that's bad if you allow home runs. So for XFIP, they said rather than take the amount of home runs you allowed, I'm gonna take the number of fly balls you're allowed, and say normally if you allow 100 fly balls, this many should have been home runs. So they're trying to do some kind of normalization for the league. That could be good, but it could be bad. Like, what if, like, legitimately the way my pitcher pitches, he just allows more home runs? So it might be safer to just go FIP. It depends, I guess, on your viewpoint.
I'm more of a whip kind of person. Walks and hits. That's all I need to know. If it's a home run, then it's a home run.
Now, would you actually go so far as to throw out ERA for relievers? Like for relievers, would you just only go by FIP? I'm sorry, not FIP. Whip.
Yes, yes, completely. Because one bad start is going to destroy a reliever's ERA for quite a while.
It is always weird. Like eventually, most relievers will run into their bad outing, and they're just hurt for the rest of the year. However, by the end of the season, like the TV's still gonna show me the reliever's ERA though. Like it's still in my face. And I'm left wondering, like, oh, are they really a 3 ERA reliever, or did they just have like two bad outings all year? That's tough. I'll throw out or throw in strikeout rate. Like that might be good to know, like, this pitcher who's coming in, he's a strikeout pitcher, or he's a ground ball pitcher, whatever.
Yes,
But ultimately,
strikeout.
you're right. Whip is good.
Do you like strikeout percentage or K9?
I'll go strikeout percentage. That's like strikeouts per batters faced. I feel like the per nines were just whoever started that was not that being lazy, but they just didn't. They did not have the time to get the full numbers of. So they just went with per nines. Plus ERA is already a per nine, but yeah, just because then if it's per inning, but your inning is really long, and that means you face like if you face 6 batters in an inning and you strike out all 3 of them, you actually only struck out half the people you faced, but your K per nine is 100% because you struck out everybody, or
You're
not
right.
percent.
You
What's it?
converted me.
That'd be 27. Uh, Devil's advocate for myself. I guess what you could say is the K per nine is when he gets outs, are they strikeouts or not? Whereas strikeout rate is just when he faces a batter, is he going to get a strikeout? Maybe there's some edge cases where you prefer the K per nine then.
I would just use it as a metric of how nasty their pitches are or how effective.
Eh, That's a good point. That's true. There's actually I'm familiar with a lot, but not familiar with these. There are like stuff plus. Like there's a like how nasty are your pitches stats out there,
Yes.
but I don't know much about those.
It's also quite hard to find those stats, even on like Fangraphs or Baseball Reference. It's not really available.
Yeah, I'm just worried that like his slider is nasty, but he doesn't get outs with it. So why do I care? Like, I guess it's good for like a like your prospects coming up. It's better to be nasty than not be nasty. But for like a 10-year vet, I just need to know like is he getting outs or he's not getting outs. Is he striking people out or is he not striking people out?
Like Devin Williams.
Devin Williams. Yeah, Devin Williams. I mean, he's been better lately, but he has to be better like for another 2 months to make up for his first month. Like he was that bad in his first month. He needs 3 months of great, and he's been great for 1 month. So 2 more to go. But yeah, his airbender stuff plus I'm sure is off the charts. Like spin rate goes into that, bunch of stuff.
I
But
think I saw his stuff. Plus, he was the number one reliever.
and what?
The nasty stuff. Plus, maybe.
Oh, those. I would be surprised. Like I didn't see it in the first 4 weeks because he was getting crushed, but lately his changeup and some people call it a changeup. Obviously, its nickname is the Airbender, and then LB the Show has it as a screwball. But
What?
it does look devastating when it works.
Do you see Otani's screwball that he showed off yesterday?
I did not know he threw a screwball. I knew he pitched to some hitters, but I
He
did not know that.
added a screwball this year. It's
When
quite
did he have
nasty.
time to add a screwball? It's crazy.
When he was injured.
I guess so. Last question for you then. Shohei Otani, the pitcher. Are you going to be so impressed that you will seek out to trade for Otani, the pitcher in the league?
Oh, I would, but I don't know if I have anyone worth trading for him. All right.
Well, it turns out that I misspoke because nobody has him. So I guess you could pick him up right now if you really wanted to. Hmm.
Right.
But
Is he
I
even
have no
set
like
to?
legitimately I have no idea when he will pitch again.
Right. He might not
Like
even
obviously
pitch this
he just
season.
yeah. I'm pretty sure I thought Matam drafted him. Let's see.
No,
Otani.
I think they only
Yeah, no,
drafted three.
he's split. If you look, he kept Otani the batter, but drafted Otani the pitcher way later. Hmm. But you know what? That's what happens when you come off to a slow start and there's high expectations for the defending champ. He feels like he can't keep uh someone who may not pitch all year taking up a roster spot. So it's fair play.
Oh, right. Since he's not injured, what would you do? Would you keep him or not?
Well,
Even though he
and
was
clearly he
doing
did
rehab.
not. The quirks of Shohei Otani. But yeah, so in summary, uh, we both like WRC plus, and I could do away with regular ERA. I want the smaller ERA, but Eric here's fine with the traditional ERA. It's fine, it's fine. And then whip and strikeout rate for relievers. Pretty simple. I think like ultimately there's a lot out there, but for most fans, you could definitely survive with that. And we're not dumbing it down to just batting average and like wins, right? Like we're going like the next two levels up. We're going W weighted runs created. For pitching, we're sticking with ERA, adding in that strikeout rate and the whip. So I think we're reasonable. We did not go so far as to go deep into super stuff plus Sierra, a bunch of other things. So that's our opinions. Do you have any final statements for the league, Coach Eric?
Hopefully I start winning and get another trophy. But it's quite a tough competition this year. So may the best man or woman win.
Well said. Well said. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining for this week of the RTG Baseball Podcast. Hopefully, we will get our resident Red Sox fan back, and we'll see. We'll be pretty much at the halfway point, so I'm sure there'll be some big stuff planned. But thank you, Eric, for joining, and thank you, everyone, for listening. Until we speak again, ciao.